bitcoinsoul.org, bitcoinseoul.org, the Asian Whale Club for distinguished members with over 50 Bitcoin of active investments. What's going on with NEO? And what's going on with China? And what's going on with ICOs? The SEC in America is also going to do the same thing that the Chinese people are doing. I'm actually surprised that the Chinese people are one-upping the SEC in America, Securities and Exchange Commission, and they're blocking ICOs before America does. So I guess that's reasonable because China doesn't have a consortium, and you don't have two parties, and you don't have a Congress and a legislation to go through and approve bills. So I suppose it makes sense that China is more agile in terms of making outlawing ICOs. But so what does that mean to all the Neos and all the Ethereums? It's actually really good news. So here's the part that most people misunderstand, and here's the part that I think is making a lot of you worried and nervous. You associate an ICO, you directly associate an ICO with a smart contract side chain or a child chain or any smart contract project. And it's understandable that you do that because every time there's been a smart contract project that's on a child chain or a side chain or even on the same blockchain, it's been promoted as an ICO. Well, the thing with an ICO is that it's actually a securities issue because what you're doing is you're getting people to bid on it at the same time. You're creating a time at which everybody at the same time can bid on it. It's kind of like in some cultures when the moment you turn 16 you can start dating, and all of a sudden all the boys want to go out with you just because you turned 16. I mean, you could be fugly, right? But just because you turn 16, all of a sudden there's a huge demand on your head. Or maybe it's not your head, but whatever the demand is on, that's what an ICO is. And it's kind of ridiculous because an ICO is not the same thing as a smart contract coin. You have to remember that. A smart contract coin doesn't have to have a functional coin, a coin that actually has some kind of real world application like Sia coin, okay? Doesn't have to have an ICO. Does that make sense? I'll give you examples of coins that never went ICO. My favorite, well, two of my favorites. Right now I'm not sure about the second one, but Rayblox, XRB, no ICO. The actual developer is a badass. He worked at Qualcomm and he worked at Nokia, or was it Ericsson? I keep forgetting. It's been such a long time since either existed. He's just a badass, and it's innovative. There's no cost. There's no transactional cost to this thing. The way he makes money off of Rayblox is, well, you tie it in with the CAPTCHAs. You know how even in Bittrex or Poloniex, if you try and log in and you can't log in, you have to fill out a CAPTCHA. Well, each of those CAPTCHAs are artificial intelligence, visual image recognition input for artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data gathering. Okay, that's about as best as I can explain that without boring you to death. So he's trying to make money using the same coin to do CAPTCHAs, to do artificial intelligence image recognition, so you don't have to pay for transactions on that coin. It's kind of cool, isn't it? Think about how cool that is. Did he do an ICO? No, it's on Mercatox, and it's on a couple other exchanges right now, and it's headed to Bittrex. I mean, Richie's smart. He's not an idiot. Richie's going to add it to Bittrex. So, Rayblox, Verge, developer, super hardworking guy, just doesn't sleep. He's super smart. He's not answering my last question about how Verge compares with Zcash. Is the only thing that I have a personal gripe about him on. And I don't warn people twice. I sent him one message and said, hey, everything's good, but how come on that list, on that matrix, you don't list Zcash? I want to see a line-by-line comparison on the actual algorithm that you're using for technical people. So that's the only hesitation I have with Verge, but it's a solid coin. It's super solid. Did he go ICO? No, he built it from the ground up, built his own community, and it's badass as far as I can tell so far, without that comparison to Zcash line by line. So what's left? What's left is, if you're going to develop a coin that has functionality, real world application, and you're going to put it under Ethereum or you're going to put it under Neo, or I hear that Korea's fintech universe is developing their own Ethereum competitor. Kind of exciting, isn't it? I can't tell you any more about that yet. I can only tell you that it exists. And Korea is 60% of the world's Ethereum volume. What is it? Bitcoin Cash is about 62% of the world's Bitcoin Cash volume. Korea is pretty badass right now. 100% of the K-pop volume. So that having been said, what do you got to do? Is Neo going to disappear? Is Ethereum going to disappear? No. Only the coins that insist on doing pumped up, trumped up, fattened ICOs are in trouble. Everybody else, you got to do it the hard way, buddies. You got to do it the hard way, and you'll succeed.